Have you ever thought about how you'd get home if you were just suddenly dropped in a place you'd never been before and it was completely dark?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
I think I would just be totally lost.
Yeah, it'd be tough to use anything other than our sight.
Exactly. And that's what makes this research that we're going to talk about today so fascinating. It's on Kuhl's pipistrelle bats.
Okay, cool.
And these bats are super tiny. They weigh less than a nickel.
Wow.
But they are masters of navigating using echolocation.
Yeah.
And researchers over in Israel's Hula Valley put their skills to the test.
Okay.
And what they found is changing the way that we understand bat navigation.
So we've always known that they use echolocation to get around and dodge things and catch bugs.
Right, short distances.
Yeah. But this research shows that they can actually use it for long distance navigation, over many kilometers.
Yeah. So that's what we're going to talk about in this deep dive. We're going to explore how these bats use echolocation and, surprisingly, their vision, too, to create a map of their world.
Yeah.
And navigate it with incredible precision. It's like they can see with sound.
Yeah. So how did researchers actually figure all of this out?
Well, the team tracked 76 bats.
Wow.
Using the system called echolocation. There's basically a tiny little GPS tracker that they put on the bats.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and so they didn't just track their movements. They actually manipulated the bat senses.
Oh, wow.
By blocking some of them, while they left others intact.
Oh, interesting.
So some of the bats only had the tracker, while others had their vision blocked, or their sense of smell blocked.
Yeah.
And this allowed the researchers to isolate which senses were crucial for navigation.
So what did they find out?
Well, the results were amazing.
Okay.
95% of the bats found their way back to their roosts.
Wow.
Within minutes. And even when they were only using echolocation.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it was a really cool study.
So even more surprising is that the study found that echolocation, it's our main tool.
Right.
But their navigation was even more accurate when they could also use their vision.
Yeah, so it seems like the vision plays a supporting role to refine the information that they're getting from echolocation.
Huh. It's like a fascinating interaction between the senses that we wouldn't necessarily expect.
Right.
It really highlights how different animals rely on their senses in different ways.
Absolutely. It challenges our assumptions about how other species experience the world.
So how did these bats create maps using sound?
Okay. So to figure this out, the researchers created this 3D acoustic map of the Hula Valley.
Oh, wow.
To simulate what the bats are seeing with their echolocation.
Okay.
And what they found is that bats prefer areas with high echoic entropy.
What is?
Yeah, so those are places that have a lot of varied sound reflections.
Okay, so it's kind of like the difference between listening to a single instrument
Right.
or a full orchestra.
Exactly.
An orchestra has so much more information.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
Yeah.
And it seems that bats use these acoustically rich areas as landmarks.
Okay.
Just like we might use a tall building or a river to orient
Oh,
ourselves.
so instead of landmarks that we see,
They have landmarks that they hear.
Exactly. And by piecing together all of these acoustic landmarks, they build a detailed mental map of their surroundings.
It's like they're creating a sonic GPS in their minds.
Yeah. It's really remarkable. It really is remarkable how these tiny little bats with brains so much smaller than ours have this incredible ability to map their world with sound.
It makes you realize that, intelligence can be so diverse in the animal kingdom.
Absolutely. And this research goes beyond just understanding how bats navigate. It raises some interesting questions about animal cognition in general.
Oh, yeah. How much detail can they actually capture in these maps?
Right.
Can they recognize individual trees or specific landmarks within their home range?
That's something that researchers are still trying to figure out, but there is some evidence suggesting that some bats can differentiate between trees based on their unique sonic signatures.
Oh, wow.
It's like they can recognize the individual voices within that sonic orchestra we were talking about. That's incredible. It opens up a whole new world of possibilities for understanding how bats perceive their environment.
Exactly. And it leads to another fascinating question. How do these mental maps actually form and develop?
Yeah.
Do young bats gradually build their maps as they explore, or is there some innate component to it?
I imagine there's got to be some kind of learning curve involved.
There is.
Yeah.
And interestingly, research suggests that young bats learn a lot about their surroundings from their mothers.
Oh, wow.
It's like they're inheriting a sonic map of their territory.
So it's not just about the individual bat's experience,
Right.
but also about the knowledge that's passed down through generations.
Exactly. And this brings up an important point. What happens to these mental maps when the environment changes.
Oh, yeah.
We live in a world where habitats are being altered really rapidly due to deforestation, urbanization, all sorts of other factors.
It'd be like if someone came in and rearranged all the landmarks that you use to navigate.
Exactly. And that can have serious implications for bats. Like imagine a bat trying to find its way home, using a mental map that no longer matches the actual landscape.
Oh, no.
It could get disoriented, lose its foraging grounds, even struggle to find its roost.
That's a really scary thought. It really highlights how important conservation efforts are that take into account this unique sensory world of these animals.
Absolutely. We need to understand how bats are adapting to environmental change and what we can do to kind of mitigate the negative impacts of human activity on their populations.
So by studying bat navigation, we're not only learning about these incredible creatures, but also gaining insights into how we can better protect them in a rapidly changing world.
And perhaps we can even draw some inspiration from their ability to navigate these complex environments using sound.
Oh, yeah.
Think about the potential applications in robotics.
Wow.
Or even assisting people with visual impairments.
That's really cool. It seems like the more we learn about bat echolocation, the more potential we uncover, both for understanding the natural world and for developing new technologies.
It really underscores how interconnected science and conservation are. By deepening our knowledge of these fascinating creatures, we can better protect them and their habitats.
And who knows what other amazing discoveries await us as we continue to delve into this intricate world of bat echolocation.
Yeah.
Speaking of discoveries, we've learned how bats actually find their way home using this fascinating two-phase process.
Right.
Do you want to explain that a little bit further?
Sure.
Oh.
So, when a bat is released in a new location, it initially engages in what researchers call meandering flight.
Oh, so they don't just make a beeline for home?
No, during this phase, they're exploring, gathering acoustic information, trying to match what they're hearing with their mental map.
Okay.
Think of it like us trying to get our bearings in a new city.
Yeah.
We might wander around a bit, checking out landmarks, street signs, until we figure out where we are.
That makes sense. So what happens once they've gotten their bearings?
Once they've pinpointed their location, based on the surrounding soundscape, they switch to direct flight, and they fly straight home, taking the most efficient route possible, just like we would once we've consulted a map or a GPS.
So they're not just reacting to what's immediately around them. They're actually planning a route based on a mental representation of their environment.
Exactly.
That's amazing. It's like they have a built-in navigation system that's tailored to their unique sensory world.
It really is remarkable. And it challenges our traditional understanding of animal navigation, showing that even creatures with relatively small brains can exhibit complex spatial awareness and decision-making abilities.
It makes you wonder what other secrets are hidden within the echolocation calls of bats.
Hmm.
Maybe they're communicating more than we realize, like
Yeah.
sharing information about food sources or potential danger.
It's certainly a possibility. After all, we're only beginning to decipher the language of echolocation. There's so much more to learn about how bats use sound to communicate and interact with their environment. And with each new discovery, we gain a deeper appreciation for the diversity of intelligence and the interconnectedness of life on our planet.
It's amazing to think about these tiny creatures out there navigating the world with such precision using sound.
It really does highlight the incredible diversity of sensory adaptations in the animal kingdom.
It makes you wonder if there are other animals out there that we haven't even begun to understand yet.
Well, there almost certainly are. We humans are so visually oriented that it's easy to forget that other species experience the world in completely different ways.
It's like we're stuck on a single channel on a radio, while there's a whole spectrum of frequencies out there.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And studying bat echolocation gives us a glimpse into one of those other channels, allows us to kind of appreciate the richness and complexity of sensory experiences beyond our own.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into bat echolocation, what are some of the key takeaways you want our listeners to remember from this?
Well, first, I think it's important to recognize that intelligence takes many forms.
Okay.
Bats may not have the same cognitive abilities as humans, but they've evolved this incredibly sophisticated system for perceiving and navigating their world.
It really challenges our, human-centered view of the world.
It does. It underscores the need to respect and appreciate the diverse ways in which other species experience and interact with their surroundings.
And second, this research highlights the interconnectedness of science and conservation. The more we learn about bats and their unique sensory world, the better we'll be able to protect them in a rapidly changing world.
Absolutely. Understanding how bats adapt to environmental change can help us to inform conservation strategies and mitigate those negative impacts of human activities.
So studying bat echolocation isn't just about satisfying our curiosity.
Right.
It's also about ensuring the survival of these incredible creatures for future generations.
Exactly. And who knows what other amazing discoveries are out there as we continue to explore the mysteries of bat echolocation.
Yeah.
Perhaps we'll uncover new insights into animal cognition, develop innovative technologies inspired by bat sonar, or even discover new ways to protect and conserve these fascinating creatures.
Well, I can't wait to see what the future holds for bat research. It's a field that is full of potential and constantly pushing the boundaries of our understanding of the natural world.
Yeah, and as we've seen in this deep dive, it's a field that's not only scientifically fascinating, but also deeply relevant to our own lives and our relationship with the planet.
So to our listeners, we encourage you to keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep marveling at the wonders of the natural world. There's a whole universe of sensory experiences out there waiting to be discovered, and who knows what amazing insights we might uncover along the way.